2nd, 2025 Brookings County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. This meeting is being recorded, televised, and viewable on Swiftel Channel 19, ITC Channel 168, or the Brookings County YouTube channel. And I'll call this meeting to order. Approval of minutes. Is there a motion? Who had that? Motion by Jensen, second.
Paulson, second.
Second by Paulson. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Items to be added to the agenda by commission members or staff.
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything.
Thank you. Invitation for citizens to schedule a time on the commission agenda for an item not listed. Nothing. Disclosure of conflicts of interest, relationships to applicant, or ex parte communication. Good. Approval of agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Kyle Vanderwall, second.
Second.
Second by Kleinjohn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We will now convene as the Brookings County Planning and Zoning Commission. The Brookings County Planning Commission is a 9-member commission whose function is to recommend approval or disapproval of land use plans, zoning ordinances, subdivision plats, and amendments thereof of the Brookings County Commission. The commission makes its recommendation based on an adopted comprehensive plan for the physical development of the unincorporated areas of Brookings County. As a matter of policy, all motions are made in the positive. After a motion is moved and seconded, it is open for debate. Those supporting the motion shall in turn give their reasons. Those opposing the motion shall then offer their reasons. After everyone has been given a chance to be heard, the commission shall recommend approval or disapproval based on the testimony and information presented. A simple majority vote of a quorum of members of the Planning and Zoning Board in attendance is required to forward a recommendation. Agenda item 2025, Plat 020, plat of Lot 12 of the Turtle Bay Addition located in the south one half of Government Lot 1 in the northeast 1/4 of Section 29, Township 109 North, Range 50W of the 5th Prime Meridian, and in a portion of the northeast 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of Section 29, Township 109 North, Range 50W of the 5th Prime Meridian, and a portion of Government Lot 2 in the southwest 1/4 of the Section 28, Township 109, Range 50W of the 5th Primary, all in Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Troyan, second.
Second.
Second by Jensen, all in favor. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2025 Plat 020. Tim Hogan has submitted a plat for Lot 12 in the Turtle Bay Addition on the west side of Lake Campbell. The preliminary plat was approved on June 6, 2024, and the plat meets the requirements of the Brookings County subdivision, Lake Park zoning ordinance, and the 2016 comprehensive plan for the unincorporated rural land use areas for developed lakes on page 11. This is the plat. There's Lot 12 with noted there's a drainage easement on the north side of it up there. It does contain 29,000 square feet. This is the beacon map, the yellow, kind of hard to see the yellow outline on the yellow background, but this is the Turtle Bay Addition. This is coming up 469th Avenue from 219th, and Lot 12 is right in this area. And this is the new floodplain map. There is a little, the little red area, little inlet right there is in the floodplain, so they are aware of that, and that's all that I have. And the applicant is not here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant is not here, I'll move to the public hearing portion. Is anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you call a vote?
Kelly Vanderwall.
Aye.
Paulson.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Mark Joinby.
Aye.
Neil Troyen,
Aye.
Randy Jensen,
Yes.
and Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on, agenda item 2025, Plat 021. Plat of Block 6, Berkland Addition, located in a portion of Government Lot 2 in the southwest one-fourth of Section 28, Township 109, Range 50W of the 5th primary, all in Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion? Motion Jensen, is there a second?
Paulson, second.
Second for Paulson. Richard, would you read the staff report?
2025 Plat 017, Mark Berglund has submitted a plat of Block 6 of Brooklyn Addition on the west side of Lake Campbell, located in the Lake Park zoning district. Block 6 is 1.36 acres and exceeding the 20,000 square foot requirements and meets the non-lakefront setback requirements of 25 feet for the front yard, 25 feet for the rear yard, and the 8-foot side yard. The preliminary plat was approved on December 3rd, 2024, and meets requirements of the Brookings County subdivision ordinance, the Lake Park zoning ordinance, and the 2016 comprehensive plan for the unincorporated rural areas for developed lakes on page 11. Here is a proposed plat, Block 6, coming up 468th Avenue. Here's the beacon map on the plat on the beacon map overlay. Here's the beacon map showing the lot right here, coming up 468th Avenue. Just shows the Lake Park zoning district underneath that. And it is not in the floodplain. That's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening if you have any questions.
Anybody have any questions for the applicant? You good? That being said, we'll move to the public hearing portion. Anybody in the audience is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that's opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public hearing portion, move back to the board for additional comments or questions. Seeing none, Richard, would you call the vote?
Yes, Tim Paulson,
Aye.
Cody Clark,
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn. Aye. Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Joinby,
Aye.
Neil Troyen,
Aye.
Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
and Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, public hearing of proposed changes to the Brookings County zoning ordinance number 2024-01, Article 1, General Provisions, and Article 4, Administration. Is there a motion? Motion by Troyen, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Clark. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, this is updating the current zoning ordinance. Updates will meet in Article 1 under the general provisions, Chapter 1.02 ordinance provision, and Article 6 in the administration, Chapter 6.05 procedures for conditional uses, variance, and zoning amendments. This is an update to add portions that were not moved forward from the old ordinance to the new ordinance. It was moved from a different section, from one section to a new section. It was missed in the final look over that these items were missed at that time. So in the update of this zoning ordinance, Article 1, under the general provisions, we're going to add the words that are underlined and are italics under Chapter 1.02 ordinance provisions, Section 1.0203 violation and penalty. Adding the words that are underlined in italics. We're adding, in addition to penalties in 6.0505, and the rest of the wording is existing on there, violations of the ordinance shall be treated within the manner specified below. Then it goes on in Article 1 to say what those are. Then updating the ordinance in Article 6 and the administration section, Chapter 6.05, under the procedures for conditional uses, variance, and zoning amendments. We are adding a section 6.0505, violation and penalties, and these words are underlined in italics also. So in adding 6.0505, violation of penalties, it shall read, number 1, it is declared unlawful for any person to violate any terms in the provisions of these regulations or any official control adopted by the Board of County Commissioners pursuant thereof. Any person who violates, disobeys, omits, neglects, or refuses to comply with or resists the enforcements of any of these provisions of the zoning ordinance may be subject to a civil or criminal penalty. The maximum penalty for this violation of this zoning ordinance shall be $500 or 30 days in the county jail or both. In addition, the violator shall pay all costs and the expenses involved in the case. Each and every day that such violation continues after notification shall constitute a separate offense. All fines of violation shall be paid to the finance office and shall be credited to the general fund of the county. The owner or tenant of any building, structure, premises, or part thereof, any architect, builder, contractor, agent, or other person who commits, participates, or assists in or maintains such violation may each be found guilty of a separate offense and suffer the penalties herein provided. Nothing therein contained shall prevent the county from taking such other lawful action as necessary to prevent or remedy any violation. Number 2, in the event any building or structure is erected, constructed, reconstructed, altered, repaired, converted, or maintained, or any building, structure, or land is used in violation of these regulations, the appropriate authorities of Brookings County, in other addition to other remedies, may institute injunction, mandamus, or other appropriate actions or proceedings in a court of competent jurisdiction to prevent, restrain, correct, or abate any such violations of these regulations. And it is the duty of the state's attorney to institute each action. So what I just read is what will be added to Article 6, of the zoning ordinance. Is there any questions or anything on that?
Was it your intention to have it dated 2024 on the top?
No. What you call a fat finger, or skinny finger.
I don't know, I don't have a problem with the $500 fine, but the 30 days in jail seems a little bit extreme, doesn't it?
Well, there's always the first time. In my 20 years, there has not been a violation of the zoning ordinance or we have taken anybody to court. But this wording needs to be in there to be able to enforce the ordinance. And that is from recommendations from state's attorney's office and verbatim through state law statutes and to make that a legal document.
Anything else from the board, or open the public hearing? Anything else from the board? Seeing nothing, I'll now open the public hearing portion of this. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? I'll now close the public hearing portion. Move back to the board for any additional comments or questions. Anything? Call a vote on this then. Seeing none, Richard, would you call a vote?
Cody Clark.
Aye.
Darrell Kleinjohn.
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall.
Aye.
Mark Jornby.
Aye.
Neil Troyan.
Aye.
Randy Jensen.
Yes.
Kelly Vanderwall.
Aye.
Tim Paulson.
No.
Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, we will now convene as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment. The Board of Adjustment is a 9-member board which has the power to hear requests for variances, conditional uses, appeals, and non-ministerial decisions of the zoning officer. The concurring vote of 2/3 of the full board membership, 6 votes, is necessary for approval of a variance or an appeal of the zoning officer. The concurring vote of a simple majority of those board members present and voting is necessary for approval of a conditional use permit. In accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, we require a motion to approve a request before the request can be debated. As a matter of policy, all motions are made in the positive. The board, under specific powers granted to it by the state, shall authorize variances from the zoning requirements where special conditions existing on the land will result in an unnecessary hardship for the applicant. Financial disadvantage to the property owner shall not constitute proof of an unnecessary hardship. Moving on, agenda item 2025, variance 001. Heather Lathrop has made an application, 2025 variance VAR 001, to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a variance, Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.03, LP Lake Park District, Section 4.03.03, Density, Area, and Yard Regulation, Minimum Lakefront and Minimum Front Yard. The property is described as Lot 1 of DeBoer's Lake Tatankaha West Subdivision in the southeast 1/4 of Section 7, Township 111 North, Range 51W, Oakwood Township, located at 14 Oakwood Shoreline Drive, Bruce, South Dakota 57220. Is there a motion?
So move, Paulson.
Motion by Paulson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Kyle Vanderwall. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2025-001, Heather Lathrop, excuse me, has applied for variance in the Lake Park zoning districts to build a new resident 33 foot, 1.5 inches from the highest known watermark, variance of 41 feet, 10.5 inches. The lakeside setback is 75 feet from the highest known watermark. They will meet the side setback of 8 feet and the roadside setback of 25 feet. The proposed new house will be farther away from the lake than the current home. And the current home, according to the assessor's equalization records, was built in 1930, prior to the Lake Park zoning regulations in Brookings County. A small portion of the northeast corner of the shoreline is in the floodplain, but the balance of the parcel is not. Things to consider are the shape and the size of the lot. And DeBoer's Lake Tatankaha West Subdivision was originally platted on October 30th, 1984, and replatted on June 24th, 2003. Public notices were published in the Volga Tribune on August 21st and 28th. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, the Brookings County Highway Department, and the Oakwood Township Chairman and Clerk. Here's the variance application. This is their site plan showing their current lot, and this is where their existing house is right now. This is their proposed site plan. Whoop. This is 33 foot, 1.5 inches to this is a deck right here, so they're supporting posts from a deck to the upper story would be the closest point for that. Meet the 8-foot setback on the east. They exceed the 25-foot setback on the south. They're at 27 feet. And they also meet the 8-foot setback on the west side. This would be the proposed footprint of the property of the proposed house. The elevation, proposed elevation, looking at it from the south, the front door right there. This would be the garage. This would be looking at it from the east side of the house, garage door right there. This would be looking at it from the west. This would be the lakeside. This post right here would be that closest point to that 33 feet, 1.5 inches. There's the foundation plan, floor plan, second story, and just the elevations of the roof lines. This is the beacon map showing the lot, and this little area right here is what I was talking about, was in the floodplain. Just comes up, follows the highest known water mark of the shoreline across there. Is not on the parcel itself, so there will be far enough back and not in the floodplain. This is the plat of 2003 when it was replatted, showing the lot right here. This is a drainage easement on the east side of the lot. On the adjacent lot, there's a drainage easement noted on the plat for that. This is just looking the southwest corner looking north towards the existing buildings. This is just looking more towards the northeast here. This is the side, looking at it from the side property line. The wheel is just kind of there holding the garage up, I guess. This is looking from the lakeside from the dock into the property. And so highest known water mark is right in this area right here, according to the line on the cement. This is just looking towards the west along the shoreline. This is looking towards the east. It will not be out any farther. In fact, it will be farther away from the lakeside than the current house is. This is just looking along the west property line. This is where, it's actually a little closer than that right now. This is 8 foot from the property line where the new house would be, proposed house would be. This is just looking 8 foot from the east property line, looking back towards the lake. This is looking at 8 feet from the property line, looking towards the south, southwest, towards the front of the lot. That's all that I have. The applicant is here this evening, so.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant's here, would you want to come forward and clearly state your name into the mic for any questions from the board?
Hi, I'm Heather Lathrop.
You can have a seat if you want. Do you have anything to add to Richard's report?
No.
Any questions from members of the board at this time?
That side yard setback, is that 8 feet 8 inch? Is that what that says?
Yeah.
Does that include overhangs and stuff?
Yep.
The overhangs go to the roof line. The overhangs are not included in that. So it goes to the sidewall is where it goes to.
Any other questions from board at this time? You can go back to your seat for a bit if you want. Thank you. Seeing no questions from board at this time, I'll move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? You for it or against it? Neutral. Okay. Well, come up and speak then, Speed. Clearly state your name into the mic when you sit down.
Name Dennis DeBoer. I live on Lake Oakwood. I have just some concerns is all, I guess. My main concern is the spring runoff, which has been known to flow right up to and around and to their current residency. If the landscaping will be built higher for the new house, I don't want their current drainage system restricted or the flow of the water in a different direction, or have it back up on our property. I want this put on the record that if this should happen anytime in the future, that there be some form of accountability to correct the situation. If the county is going to give variances, they should also consider how the rights of others might be affected by the details involved in that variance. I also might take up if it's built up higher, the ground, what the effects will have on the flow of the water. If there's a concrete wall or a driveway, might be also restrict the water flow. Also, concrete driveway should be on a person's own property and not have it end up on any part of the common area or the road. I should also be noted that the contractor and owner should be responsible for the following: the EPA regulations and demolishing and the disposal of the current house, if it's not being moved for continued use as a residential someplace else. That's all I have.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing portion and move it back to the board for additional comments or questions. Are there any comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing nothing, Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
I got just a question on there on the, if they know how far they would elevate that south end of the property, just so it would maintain the water, so it would direct around that. You can come up to the mic if you'd like.
Back to the fence deal there, where it shows it leaning toward
I'm
elevation.
Kevin Lathrop. Visiting with the contractor, I don't know that we would raise that up really much more than the current, the way that it is.
So basic elevations are gonna stay the same there.
Yes,
Nothing gonna impede the drainage easement on the south side of it,
correct.
southeast side of it, maybe. Okay. Richard, if you go back to your pictures, the one with the fence and the neighbor's house.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, where the culvert was at. Right there. Yeah,
Right here.
it's sloped, it's gonna naturally slope down there anyway. There shouldn't be anything impeding any runoff with what they're doing. Do you see anything that's gonna impede the runoff?
No, just that previously it had come across their property and through the, just so that,
Okay. So if it's gonna
until,
stay,
until they get their final elevations done, you really, it's hard to tell where that's gonna
Yep.
be, so.
Correct.
Well, that was all that I had.
that's okay. Are there any additional comments or questions from members of the board then? You good? Seeing and hearing none, you can go back to your seat if you want.
Thank you.
Close the public hearing already. We've already closed the public hearing portion of it, though.
Pardon?
We've already closed the public hearing portion, so really you can't.
It's in regards to this.
The public hearing part's been closed, though.
Mapping right though. Beacon, mapping right.
That been no additional comments or questions from members of the board. Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
Brookings County zoning ordinance variance 2025-001, an application for a variance have been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission, acting as a Brookings County Board of Adjustment, a copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Heather Lathrop regarding the following real property. Lot 1 of DeBoer's Lake Titankaha West Subdivision in the southeast 1/4 of Section 7, Township 111 North, Range 51 West, Oakwood Township, located at 14 Oakwood Shoreline Drive, Bruce, South Dakota, 57220. After due notice, a public hearing have been held on the application on the second day of September 2025. Number 1, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment hereby finding that that the strict application of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would produce undue hardship, that such hardship is not shared generally by other properties in the same zoning district in the same vicinity, and the authorization of such variance will not be substantial detriment to the adjacent property, and the character of the district will not be changed by the granting of the variance, and that granting of the variance is based upon reasons of demonstrable and exceptional hardship as distinguished from variations for the purpose of convenience, profit, and caprice. Number 2, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the Condition or situation of the property concerned or the intended use of the property is not so general or recurring of nature as to make reasonable, practicable the formulation of a general regulation to be adopted as an amendment to the zoning ordinance. Number 3, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the written application of the petitioner demonstrates that special conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, or buildings in the same district that in literal interpretation of the provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district under the terms of this ordinance. That the special conditions or circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant, that the granting of the variance requested will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by the ordinance or other lands, structures, or buildings in the same district. Number 4, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds that the reasons set forth in the application justify the granting of the variance, that the variance is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land, building, or structure, that the granting of the variance will be in harmony with the general purpose and the intent of the Brookings County zoning ordinance, will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. Number 5, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this variance upon the following special conditions or safeguards. A, the shape and the size of the lot. B, DeBoer's Lake Titankaha West subdivision was originally platted on October 30th, 1984 and replatted on June 24th, 2003, prior to the current zoning ordinance requirements. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petitioner a variance for the above described property as follows. Build a new residence 33 feet, 1 1/2 inch from the highest known watermark on Lake Titankaha, otherwise known as Lake Oakwood, a variance of 41 feet, 10.5 inches. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with conditions and safeguards in 5 above and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the terms of this variance. If this variance is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated the 2nd day of September 2025.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the findings of the facts are followed, so I concur with the findings of facts.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. That being said, Richard, would you call a vote?
Yes, Darrell Kleinjohn,
Aye.
Kyle Vanderwall,
Aye.
Mark Jornby,
Aye.
Neil Troyan,
Aye.
Randy Jensen,
Yes.
Kelly Vanderwall,
Aye.
Tim Paulson,
Aye.
Cody Clark,
Aye.
and Chad Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item number 12, department reports.
I don't have anything, Richard, do you?
Nope, I do not. Just that the zoning ordinance will be coming up. Next step will be the county commission. They'll have a first reading and then the second reading will be coming up, and it'll probably go live first part of November, I believe, or middle of November, so. And we'll have additions for your book so we'll give you those updates to those sections.
Okay. Any need for an executive session?
No, sir.
Sounds good. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Kyle Vanderwall.
Second.
Who had that?
Me.
Olson. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.